Hi, and this is Grant Werstick with the 4th issue of the Hippocratic Diaries video newsletter, and hope you're enjoying the content so far. Today we're going to be talking about the kettlebell swing and the dumbbell swing, which is another variation that you can do. Mechanically, they're only slightly different, but they both get great results. Both incredible for fat burning, for boosting stamina and endurance, boosting strength, and just working on all the muscles on the back of your body. Again, in our society, everything on the front of our body gets worked to death: our chest, our biceps, our abs, our quads. But most of us forget about the muscles on the back of our body, our glutes, our hamstrings, our back, our shoulders, that kind of thing. So this will really help boost the back of your body and just maybe give you that missing link in your fitness routine that you've been looking for. Best thing I like about this exercise, it's so fast, so simple, so convenient. Okay, you can do it anytime, anywhere, with almost any heavy object you can find. It doesn't matter if you have a big house or not. You can usually find the space in almost any room in your house. And again, just a few minutes. This isn't an exercise you need to spend hours and hours on. 5-10 minutes a day is all you need to get the benefits from this. So it's really great for just fast, simple results. I will say again, too, with some of my other content, make sure you're spending time on that, because really it doesn't matter how good you look physically or how strong you are or any of those sorts of things, right? If your movement patterns aren't correct and you're not working on building an injury-proof body, then you're just basically ticking time bomb, and it's only a matter of time before you get injured really badly, and then you're out of luck for quite a while. So make sure you spend the time building those correct movement patterns. Make sure you spend the time working on all your joints and your soft tissues, and then you'll be able to enjoy a nice, long, healthy life and just continue to get stronger every day. So now we'll get into the movement, the kettlebell swing. Just a few things. I talk about some of this in the offline newsletter, so if you forget some of this, I always have reference there. First thing is that you want to pick the right weight to start with. Okay, and while you don't want to go too heavy off the bat, right, obviously, you also don't want to go too light. This is one of those funny exercises where you need the right amount of weight for your body to feel what it's supposed to be doing, because the weight's going to provide feedback to you. And if you go with too light of a weight, you're going to have a lot of troubles feeling what the correct movement pattern is for this. Women, usually you're going to start with anywhere from an 8 kilogram kettlebell to maybe a 10 or 12 kilogram kettlebell if you're a little bit stronger, a little bit more in shape. Men, you can probably start with a 16 kilogram kettlebell. And if you're in really good condition, you might be able to start with a 20 kilogram kettlebell, something like that. Point is, just start with something decent and you can build up from there. Once you can crank out 50 to 100 reps pretty easily, you can definitely increase your weight there and keep getting good results. There's a lot of really fine points to remember when you're doing this exercise, so I'll break down those points, then I'll do a few demonstration reps and give a few reminders. So first of all, with this exercise, big thing is to have your feet shoulder width apart. All right, you can go a little bit wider if you need to. Ideally, you want your feet pointing straight ahead, but you can turn them out just slightly, maybe about a 30-degree angle, other foot, if you need that comfort for the squatting part, okay? The movement is essentially a combination of maybe a quarter squat or half squat, okay, maybe a half deadlift, all right, and then a front shoulder raise. All right, so that's kind of the three movements that you're putting together to do the kettlebell swing. And of course, it's going to appear very seamless at the end of it when we do it all together. Big thing to remember with this is that you aren't actually lifting the weight. Okay, this is very much a momentum exercise and a speed exercise. So if you feel like you're having to exert a lot of muscular effort to lift the weight, then you're probably doing it wrong. And that's going to be one of your key feedback tips. You shouldn't feel a burning in your shoulders at all. You shouldn't feel a lot of stress in your body in general, right? It's very much proper mechanics and getting your hips to snap out, okay, and straightening your back really, really tight and fast. And that's going to create the momentum to swing the bell up and forward. Basically, your arms are just a connecting point between your body and the kettlebell. Okay, you can think of it like a wrecking ball. All right, so it's just this long cable that's swinging this big steel ball. okay, and the ball is what swings out, all right? So the cable isn't actually exerting the effort, it's the whipping force of the crane arm that's doing all the damage. So that's a big thing to remember. No actual arm force is being applied. Your arms are basically just a connecting point between your body and the kettlebell, and it's going to apply that whipping action or that whipping force, which is going to help throw the kettlebell up. You want to keep your shoulders down and back. Again, there's a natural tendency to shrug the shoulders up when we're doing this, or to roll them forward a lot. Okay, shoulders down and back. That's going to help us keep a nice tall posture, and it's also going to help ensure that we aren't, again, using our upper body to help throw the kettlebell up. Other things to keep in mind: tall, flat back. Okay, just like every other exercise I've coached a lot through this. All right, we want that nice straight back. So that involves sticking our chest out, sticking our butt out, and the more we emphasize that, even when we get tired, that will help ensure that our back is still staying flat. Because as we all know, when we get tired, our form is the first thing to go, and if your form goes, then you're not getting the benefit from the exercise, and you might as well stop right there. The worst kind of practice is bad practice, so make sure that every rep you do, that you're making it count and that you're actually putting all your effort into it. Next thing to remember is we want the weight on our heels, okay? So kind of like I talked about with the goblet squat, one little Q-tip you can remember to help remember that is to curl your toes back, and that'll help keep the weight on your heels, all right? And you find when you're actually doing the swing, you might feel like you're going to fall backwards, or like you're rocking back onto your heels, okay? And that's a pretty good sign that you're on the right track. So all your pushing force is coming through your heels and your hips, so you're going to drive your heels into the ground hard and snap your hips forward and out, okay? And that's going to help create all the force that you need to get the kettlebell up. Again, this is all momentum, all legs and hips, all right? That's the only thing that's going to the kettlebell. So I think that's kind of our key tips to remember for right now. So I'll demonstrate a few reps from a few angles, and then we'll play with it and refine it a little bit. Okay, so I got my kettlebell here, 20 kilogram kettlebell. Just one quick little drill to get you started on the movement and get used to feeling it. First thing, you're going to place the kettlebell kind of right in between the balls of your feet or your insteps, okay? So it should be pretty much right underneath you. And we're just going to do a few quick little deadlift repetitions. You want to do these fairly explosively. Again, keeping the tall flat back and that mini squat and changing at the hip. Okay, and you're just going to grab the weight and explode up with it. And what that's going to do is just help get the beginning of the movement for us, okay? So kettlebell between us, just loose grip, grab the bell and explode up. Again, pushing the hips forward and out as we do that. Okay? Just like that. Alright, now what I'm going to do is place the kettlebell further back and get it right between my heels there. And what this is going to do is, because I'm starting from behind my body, that exploding momentum that I'm going to have, it's going to help start my swing. It's going to help to bring it out in front of me. So just a few reps. Again, reach behind you, kind of like you're hiking a football, and just loose grip on the kettlebell. And I'm just going to explode up and forward. Bang, touch it down, bang, touch it down. Okay, so you see how I'm already getting a little bit of a swing, and I'm not even doing full movement right now, alright? Just little touchdowns, and we already got some momentum on the kettlebell. So if you can master that point of grabbing it from your heels and snapping it up and out, then you're already most of the way to completing your proper kettlebell swing. So now we're going to get into the actual swing part. Only difference between the swing and what we just did is that the kettlebell is going to be sitting kind of mid-air right underneath your butt. Okay, again, that whole hiking a football idea, that's kind of the action that you're looking for. So, and even when you're doing your swings, the kettlebell should be coming right underneath your buttocks every time. Alright, and you'll see that when I demonstrate from the side angle. Your hands, again, coming right into your inner thighs here. Okay, that's usually where you have to touch off. And again, loose grip on the kettlebell. You don't need to white knuckle it. Alright? The more tension that you apply into your hands and your arms, the more tired you're going to get more quickly. So again, all the tension on the legs and the hips, They're bigger muscles, they have more endurance, they can take a lot more abuse. So we'll do a few reps of the kettlebell swing, and just again, keep refining it as we go. Okay, so kettlebells between my heels, and I'm just going to grab it, loose grip, again, tall flat back, half squat, half hinge, and just fire it up. Okay? And the more I explode with my legs and my hips, the more I drive those heels into the ground, the easier it's going to be, and the higher it's going to go. Okay? Every time you explode up, exhale your air out, and every downstroke, breathe in. Okay, view from the side, just so you get the view there. Okay, shoulders apart, bell between the heels, touch down, and explode up. Okay, you can see it only takes 1 or 2 good swings to get the right height. Okay, touch it down there. A few little tips that you may notice when we're doing that. First of all, you only need to stop shoulder height or parallel to the floor. Okay, no need to go way above that, and really even a hip height swing would be quite sufficient. Okay, so don't let anyone tell you that it's, the effectiveness of the movement is how high you go. It's mostly just about getting that hip snap and getting the bell to float up there. You're going to notice too that when the kettlebell comes up there, there's kind of that sweet spot where it just hangs in the air. Okay, that's where the force of our body is so powerful that it's equaling out gravity there. And actually, if I let go of the kettlebell at that point, it would just kind of hang in the air for a brief second. And that's what we want, and you'll feel that point. If you're doing the exercise properly, you're going to feel it start to hang in the air. And sometimes, if you get enough force, you actually might feel like it wants to float up even higher than that. Okay, so things to look for. But basically, there's no need to go way above your head, as you might see some people do. Really, it's not necessary to get a lot of this movement. Alright, one other thing to mention, when we get that sweet spot where it's kind of hanging in the air, that's when you still want to start actively pulling down on the kettlebell. Okay, so I'm not just letting gravity do its work, I'm not just letting the kettlebell fall back down. I'm actually squeezing my lat muscles, these muscles on the side here, okay, and actually squeezing my abs too, pulling that kettlebell right down between my legs. What that does is it helps create more momentum, more strength for the movement, okay? So it's kind of like a hydraulic compression or compression spring, alright? That active pull down is going to load my hips, load my legs for my next swing. So the more you actively load with each rep, the easier it's going to be, and the harder and faster you're going to be able to do the movement. Alright, so I think those tips covered. I'll just touch on the dumbbell swing again, same basic mechanics. It'll just look a little bit different and probably feel a little bit different, but it'll do the same thing for you. And then I might demonstrate a few reps with a heavier bell. So just moving on here.